bullying from other students was causing me to suffer from low self-esteem. So actually, my parents, I don't know, I don't think bullies ever physically hurt me. At least it's hard to remember that far back. But of course, obviously, they certainly were very harsh with their words. Of course, so my parents. So around the same time that my parents took me out of mainstream education and started searching for special education, they also signed me up for karate lessons to help me as well.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Bunny Hugs and Mental Health, free safe space for people to share and learn from others' experiences with mental health and addictions. I'm Todd Rennebaum, suicide attempt survivor and recovering substance abuser. I'm so glad you could make it to this week's episode. It's with an amazing dude. His name is James B. Jones, and he was on the fantastic Netflix series Love on the Spectrum USA. If you haven't seen it yet, that's okay. This is still an amazing episode, and I just say you should watch it. It's an incredibly sweet series about people on the spectrum dating, trying to find love, and James was on it. And we discuss the show a little bit. We discuss his love life or the lack thereof, and we discuss some mental health challenges for people on the spectrum, but more specifically, his challenges. Just a super, super sweet dude, and it was just incredible to meet him. This episode will also be on YouTube. It's Bunny Hugs Mental Health on YouTube. You can go to the channel there. There's all types of videos, some newer ones, some interviews I did a couple years ago. But yeah, they're all there. So check that out. Make sure to subscribe. But for now, without further ado, I give you James B. Jones. Sorry, I was just going to say I had a funny dream about you last night.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was more this morning. It was like just before I woke up. We were driving around together, you and I. I was in the back seat for some reason.
Huh.
And you... And I was like, hey, James, you're a pretty good driver. And then right then you got self-conscious and you got into a car accident. We were fine.
Well, in actuality, I haven't had a car accident in at least 10 years, maybe closer to, I honestly don't remember. It's been 10, 12, 12 years. It's been a long time since I ever had any trouble while driving. I'd like to keep it that way.
Me too. So where do you work? I'm guessing IT.
Yes, I do in fact work in tech support, information technology. I mean, obviously I'm not going to reveal the name of the company where I work, but yes, I've always been fond of computers and electronics, so I do work in technical support. Absolutely.
I see. I have a friend that his dad. Well, so my friend is on the spectrum as well, and his dad runs a company where he hires people on the spectrum, and they're all do IT work. That's kind of the job. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Yeah. I don't know what it is with, if that's a very common thing. Like a lot of people on the spectrum, if they like IT stuff. I don't know.
Well, possibly. I don't know. Sometimes it is said that
you look good. Don't worry.
Okay. Sometimes it is said that some people seem to think that people with Asperger's syndrome, autism, ADHD, or similar conditions, or people who are neurodiverse, have a tendency to focus on objects rather than on people. It is often believed that people like that have difficulty with detecting emotions or with connecting with people on an emotional level. But of course, that does not apply to everyone. This most certainly is not a one-size-fits-all approach or mentality to take. You certainly cannot make any presumptions, you know?
Yeah, right. I was just diagnosed with ADHD about a year ago.
Oh, so wow, I see. How old are you, may I ask?
I'm 45 years old.
Okay, yes, a little bit older than me. Oh.
45 Canadian years.
Oh, I wasn't aware there was a difference.
No, there isn't. I was just
okay. I see. So, wow, that is definitely a late diagnosis. But I have met some people who are diagnosed who are diagnosed with neurological conditions later in life. But I'm very lucky. My doctor's diagnosed me with Asperger's syndrome when I was only 10 or 11, but shortly after my age, it entered double digits, which was good. That meant my family and I were able to get me the help that I needed. I'm glad if I'd been diagnosed later in life, I might not have received all the help that I got. So, but yes, I have through, I am a member of an organization that seeks to help people who have neurological conditions. And yes, I have met some people through that group who were diagnosed later in life.
Yeah. I've well, since COVID, actually, there's been a lot of people I know that have been diagnosed later in life with ADHD.
Well, now I guess they've had time to visit their doctors, most likely.
I guess, yeah. It's tough. I mean, I struggled with anxiety and depression and addiction all through my life, so it's been it's explained a lot getting this diagnosis. So,
I see.
Yeah. And what kind of help did you receive since you were diagnosed?
Let me see. Well, for many years, I saw a psychologist or therapist. I'm not sure what the proper term is, but I mean, yes, he was a therapist, but he had a degree in psychology. So yes, I always called him a psychologist. He was immensely helpful. I do not need to see him any longer. I haven't seen him since the beginning of the pandemic, but yes, he was immensely helpful. Without his help, yes, I definitely would not be where I am without his help. But not only that, my parents sought out special education for me, for people who had my condition. And yes, that also helped. Again, without that special education, I definitely would not be where I am now. But so back at the time when I was younger, so let me see, I was born in 1987. So I was in elementary school during the 1990s. At that point in time, society's understanding what there was of it, society's understanding of neurodiversity was nowhere near what it is now. So unfortunately, the people couldn't understand people people with Asperger's syndrome, autism, ADHD were simply categorized together with people who had Down syndrome or other much more severe conditions. So yes, so they didn't have programs for people like myself, but at the time. So yeah, my parents searched around to find such a program, and I certainly don't want to sound as if I'm bragging or anything, but I am old enough that I can say I am one of the earliest students who was in a special education program specifically designed for people with conditions such as Asperger's syndrome, autism, ADHD, and so forth.
Nice.
Yes. So it's not too bad. Although, of course, again, back one other thing to note is, back in those days, the term special education was very much a loaded term. It was actually quite a negative term to be, and actually quite a few people abbreviate special education to SPED, and that was definitely an offensive term. So yeah, to be in special education was what people shunned you, or they looked at you funny. I would like to believe that is no longer the case now, but yes, back at that point in time, things were a lot different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely remember being in elementary school and people not understanding and being very, very cruel, like the other children being cruel.
No, I totally get that. Happened to me also. I understand.
Yeah. So I can't help but notice you have a colorful shirt and a blue background, and I have a blue shirt and a colorful hat.
Oh, how about that? Yes, actually,
nice.
I had this shirt custom made. I'm not sure if you can notice, but these are lightning bolts. These are multicolored lightning bolts.
Very cool. You had that made. You had someone special make that for you.
Yes, indeed. I bought the fabric. I purchased the fabric at a store, then had a tailor make it. So yes, this is absolutely a designer shirt. This is the only shirt like it in the whole world.
Damn, good on you. You got good taste, man.
Oh, thank you very much.
And you're very lucky to have parents that were that involved in that, that caring for you, that they really did a lot of research.
Yes, thank you. Of course. I love my parents and they love me. They wanted absolutely the best for me, for their son. So I will forever be grateful for everything that they did for me and have done and continue to do for me.
Do you live with them?
Yes, at this moment, I do still live with my parents because
Okay.
housing is terribly expensive at this point in time. It's ridiculous. It's the thing. So I mean, if I'd been born about a decade earlier, I probably could have afforded to get a house by this age. But on the other hand, though, if I'd been born a decade earlier, I might not have received all the help that I received. So it's sadly, it's like so neither one is a win. It's almost like it's a no-win situation. But I have no how is the housing situation in Canada, if I may ask?
Well, it depends on the city, but where I am, it's definitely expensive. It's not as expensive as other places, but yeah, it's
Okay, so
very,
it's not
very
just the
expensive.
United States then.
No,
No,
no, no.
it's ridiculous. But the thing is, so I am not entirely. I absolutely do not wish to delve too heavily into a political discussion at this moment. But
Sure.
I am not entirely certain how seriously politicians are taking the issue of the housing crisis right now. I would like to believe at least some are addressing it, but that is not the biggest. Well, no, yeah. I don't want to delve too heavily into it, but yes, I mean, obviously, it's not the biggest issue right now, but there are other bigger issues, of course, that we need to address. But yes, I do hope at some point, though, politicians start taking it much more seriously because yes, houses are terribly expensive right now.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I was born a decade later, so I was able to afford a house, but I do worry about my children. They're 17 and 19, and they could be living with me for a long time. And
yeah, well, my brother and his wife have two children. Actually, my brother and several of my cousins have young children, and I really want those children to have a bright, hopeful future where they do not need to worry about when they shall have their next meal, or they do not need to worry about where they can feel safe and secure. I'm certain that my brother and my cousins wish for that as well.
yeah.
Yes.
So I've been following you for quite a while
Oh,
on
very good.
Instagram, and I love your posts. And
Thank
I,
you.
I saw the other day that you were on the show, Love on the Spectrum,
Yes.
and you went on a date and whatever. But after the show, though, were you able to keep dating people, or did you ever find a girlfriend? What happened there?
Okay, so after Love on the after the filming for Love on the Spectrum was finished, well, let me see now. I did not find any new girlfriends, at least not immediately. Things were pretty quiet until when the show premiered. However, of course, things were different. People began to recognize me everywhere. So thankfully, I do not mind the attention. About 10 years ago, there's no way I could have handled the publicity. So, and of course, if I would not have auditioned for the series if I did not feel that I could handle the attention. But yes, no. So yeah, things were quite different. I certainly do not wish to sound as if I'm boasting, but appearing on Love on the Spectrum was without question one of the best things that has ever happened to me.
Good.
Yes, people began to recognize me everywhere. So I made my account Instagram about a week after the series premiered because I realized I had to take advantage of the situation to strike while the iron was hot. Because prior to that, I had virtually no social media presence at all because there simply was no need for it. But yes, when I heard that several of the other cast members already had accounts on Instagram. They gained huge amounts of new followers after the series premiere. So I realized I want to get in on that as well. I want to cash in on that popularity. So I did. So yeah, I'm not entirely certain how quickly people tend to gain new followers, but it didn't take me that long to get into the triple digits or even over 1,000 followers. So.
And did that help you find more dates?
Perhaps I'm trying to think now. So, I have been communicating with both men and women, but oh god,
Like to
let me
date?
see now. Just give me one thing about this. So, actually, there's one woman who reached out to me. Seems pretty nice at first, but then she was getting a little bit too, I guess I could say obsessive or whatever. I didn't like. She was getting a little bit too bold and forward. And the thing is, though, when I asked her, if she wanted to meet in person. She actually wanted to come over to my house and meet my parents right away. day. So that was definitely too much. So I had to block her, unfortunately. But let me see what else. So let me see. So yes, actually, let's see. Earlier this year, yes, a woman reached out to me through Instagram, and she seemed very nice. Actually, yes, we were dating for a while, as a matter of fact. So I say from about April to October, we were dating, and she was really nice. I really liked her. I really enjoyed spending time with her and everything. But she had 2 children from a previous relationship, so I knew it wasn't going to work out because I do not wish to be a parent. I do not have any children of my own. I know that that is not a responsibility I can handle. So I had to break up. I had to end it. So that was it was not easy. That was one of the most difficult decisions I've ever made in my life. It hurt very much. It was very emotionally painful to do that, but I had to. I just knew it wasn't. Eventually, sooner or later down the line, it was going to get difficult. I had to end it sooner rather than later, but to limit the amount of emotional impact that it would have.
Well,
So,
that's sorry. I was going to say that's very responsible of you. I mean,
yes,
like
thank you.
that's
I'd like to believe so. So,
yeah.
yes. So, I really hope I didn't hurt her too much, and I hope I haven't. I hope that she can move on. I hope I haven't. I hope that I haven't repelled her from the idea of dating. Wherever she is now, I wish her absolutely the best, and I hope that she finds someone else, someone who actually wishes to be, who actually has no problem being in a relationship with someone who already has children.
Or someone that can handle that responsibility.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's very good self-awareness.
Yes, thank you. And of course, I wasn't always that self-aware, but that's probably for everyone. I highly doubt anyone is born with a certain level of self-awareness. It takes time to develop that level of self-awareness. So yes.
Yeah. And
If I may ask, I hope it doesn't change subjects too abruptly, but
Nope.
where did you get that hat? May I ask?
You like that, eh?
Hmm.
I've got that. It was an ad on Instagram, actually.
Well, I really, really like the phrase on it. Those are very wise words indeed, very inspirational.
Yeah, it's good. If I see the ad again, I'll forward it to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Because it's and it fits nice and it feels good. So it's a good. I'm
that's
very
good.
picky about my clothes, how they feel,
Ah.
textures and stuff. So it's
Oh yes,
it's
I
nice.
completely understand that.
Is that one of the reasons why you like that shirt, that fabric?
Partially, yes. I mean, when I saw this fabric in the store, I knew I had to get a shirt made of it. I couldn't pass it up. But let me see what else there is. I have several other custom shirts, as a matter of fact. So, yes, that's not too bad. You may have seen them in pictures or videos of my Instagram account. But, well, when I was younger, the loose hanging tags on shirts would rub against my neck very uncomfortably, so I removed them. And it's not so much a problem now, but now I just do it out of habit. Just out of habit, whenever I get a new shirt, I remove the tags from it. That also helps me to know which shirts are mine. I can tell the difference between my shirts and my father's shirts, for instance.
I find pillowcases. I'm very picky about what pillowcases I use.
Oh, I see. I've never really paid attention to pillowcases, but no, I understand. I get that. Actually, I mean, this is somewhat related. I mean, I like to keep my fingernails and toenails well trimmed and filed down. But although if my toenails get too long, they start scratching and catching on my sheets in my bed. So that's how I know when it's time to trim and file down my toenails, if they start scratching against my sheets.
Yes, it's funny that you say that, because just the other day, it's like I was thinking to myself, does anyone else, can they feel how uncomfortable their nails are when they're too long? Like even just sitting there, I was like, oh man, I got to clip my nails, not because of the look, but because of the feel.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, so are you looking for dates and looking for love still? And are you?
Yes, absolutely. I am indeed still seeking a new girlfriend, a new relationship. I'm hoping to find a special person with whom I can share all the best moments of my life, with who will help make my life feel more vibrant, more exciting, who enhances my life with their presence. So I do want to find that special someone. I just hope I'm not trying too hard, but I actually even made a video about that recently, but because I am actively searching. But some people have said that don't try too hard. and you'll find love when you least expect it. But so, of course, I asked that question in my video. I received a mixed response that several people did agree that, yes, you don't try too hard. Several people have said you'll find love when you least expect it. And other people have said, well, other people did feel that that may not be the best idea. You should be actively searching. So it's hard to say. But the thing is, so in the past, actually, that actually has happened in the past. A while back, I did, in fact, meet a woman who I thought may have been my ideal match completely unexpectedly when I wasn't looking, when I wasn't searching. So yes, she was really nice. Actually, so this was back in 2016. So yes, when I met this woman, and that was the first time I'd ever felt that way about a woman. I'd never felt that way about anyone else before. So I thought for sure she was the one, but she was not. I really don't want to go into the details, but yes. So it turned out she wasn't the one, sadly. So yes.
Yeah, I remember that video because you said, do people that like they're looking for that perfect house when they're not looking, does it show up, or that perfect job or whatever? Like, does that just show up? Like, no, you have to be actively kind of on the lookout for it. And I thought that was a good point. I've been very lucky myself. I've been with my wife for over 20 years. So
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
I'm very blessed. So I can't imagine you not finding somebody because you are such a just a polite, really friendly, kind soul.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to hear you said. I do my best. I try to be polite and respectful and friendly to everyone. Yes.
Even people you don't like?
Yes, unfortunately, yes, I do have to be. Unfortunately, it happens. Yes, sometimes I do. Thankfully, I'm very thankful to say that those people, there are very few people whom I dislike. Actually, I would say I consider myself very fortunate that there is no one whom I genuinely hate. Thankfully, there are some people who annoy me, but yes, I've been very fortunate that there's no one whom I genuinely hate.
Mm-hmm. So, not even Hitler?
Oh, well, I mean,
you've never met him.
I'm referring to people I know personally. I mean,
right,
obviously, I never met him, but that's different. Come on, I was referring to people who I know personally in my everyday life. So,
right. Sorry, I could be sarcastic sometimes.
Oh. Of course.
Do you catch sarcasm? Do you find?
Well, when I was younger, I had a very difficult time doing so. That is a trait of certain neurological conditions, Asperger's syndrome, autism, and so forth. Having difficulty recognizing sarcasm. I've gotten better, of course, but there are still times where I have difficulty.
So I suppose, like being a mental health podcast. What would you say you probably struggle? What kind of mental health issues do you struggle with? Maybe more than a neurotypical person.
Let me see. Of course, in the past, I had difficulty both making friends and keeping them. So yes, it at first it wasn't noticeable. It became more noticeable as time passed. So for grades 1 through 4, or that is to say elementary school, I was in normal or mainstream education. But then the things became at first in like first and second grade. It really was not noticeable, but in third and fourth grade, things became much more noticeable. And so let me see. I'm typically a very upbeat person. I usually am very positive and optimistic, but there was a brief time, I think, toward the end of elementary school where I was, I'm not sure if depressed is the right word, but bullying from other students was causing me to suffer from low self-esteem. So actually, my parents, I don't think bullies ever physically hurt me. At least it's hard to remember that far back, but of course, obviously, they certainly were very harsh with their words, of course. So my parents, so around the same time that my parents took me out of mainstream education and started searching for special education, they also signed me up for karate lessons to help me as well. Yes, that really helped with my self-confidence, and it's I would. I mean, as I said, I don't know if I've ever. I can't, I can't remember. I don't think I've ever actually been in a real fight, which is thankful. But obviously taking karate certainly helped me to develop skills, self-defense skills. And of course, a major part of that was when recognizing. Well, obviously you need to know when it is necessary to fight. You also need to know when it is necessary to not fight as well. That is very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't just walk into a room and start kicking everyone's ass.
No, that is very. That's absolutely not what. That's absolutely not what you're supposed to do. We are always telling you need to neutralize your attacker, then get away as quickly as possible.
Oh, so even when it's against your will, the fight, you don't just take them down and then keep kicking their ass. You just take them down,
certainly not,
and then get out of there.
No. It's like if someone attacks you, like you try. I mean, as I said, I don't think I've ever actually need to do this in actuality. But if someone were to attack you randomly, just try to knock them down, then just run away and just get away.
Do you still take karate?
Oh, no, I haven't in a long time. I had to give it up when I started college. And actually, I probably could afford to start. The lessons weren't cheap. I mean, theoretically, I could go back, but I don't know. Right now, my job, I have a long commute to and from work. My job occupies so much of my time that it's I try to find any free time I can get is precious now, as sad as that is. So, plus, I try to go to a gym when I try to exercise at the gym when I can. So, yes, I find other ways to stay physically active.
Right. Good. I should probably do that more. I'm kind of fat and hairy.
Oh, well, I'm sure if your wife is still with you after all this time, she must love you.
Oh, she loves me. I don't know if she likes looking at me much. But
well, I don't know. I mean, you could go to the gym, or you could try waxing.
I suppose I could try waxing. When I meant hair, I meant more my face.
Oh, I see.
But I'll write that down.
Oh,
waxing. There. Thanks, James. Do you wax?
Well, let me think. So, just give me a moment. So, when oh boy, I'm hoping it won't be too much information now, mind you. But let me see. So,
you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Oh, okay. Well, let me see. Yeah, I mean, a while back, I forgot what year it was. Maybe it was 2016. Or I mean, a while. So, I mean, at first, I didn't do anything about my arms or. Of course, I shave my face, obviously, and I've been shaving my underarms for a long time, but I didn't do anything about my arms or legs. But then just one day, I decided to try it out and see what it was like, and I had no problem. It didn't really hurt all that much at all. Just a few little pinches or pinpricks. But yeah, I got my arms and legs waxed. But of course, it started going back. But I hope this doesn't sound too funny, but I do in fact shave my arms and legs because I like how smooth it makes my skin feel. And it's funny. I made a video about this, and some people said they understood. It's like a sensory thing because they understand. Several people have understood. So I like how smooth my skin feels without all that itchy hair on it. But
sure. I get that. Smooth skin is very, very nice. It's nice to feel. Do you cheer for the Patriots?
Oh, yes. I mean, I do absolutely support all the Boston teams, but that's pretty much a function of where you live. I mean, there's really no logic to supporting the teams whom you support. That's more or less the reason why anyone supports the teams whom they support, because they lived in a certain area all that time. So I do happen to wonder how that is for someone who moves, who relocates their place of residence. I mean, do they continue to support their original team, or do they shift their loyalty to the team of where they live then? I wouldn't know. I have no real desire to move out of the region where I live now, so I don't think this is going to be an issue for me.
Right. Do you keep in touch with the young lady from the show that you?
Oh, yes, Emma. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Emma and I are still friends. Very thankfully, we still do hang out, which is nice. I'm very glad for that. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing that the show brought you a friend at least.
Yes,
Like,
that wasn't too bad. And actually, I have met other people through the show. I mean, as I mentioned, people do recognize me out on the streets at random. But let me see. One time, like short the same year, and back in 2022, a few months after the show premiered, I went to King Richard's Fair, and yes, several people recognized me. I remember actually, yes, the two women who I met there recognized me, and yes, said that they've become friends too. They're both married, but I made some new friends, so that's not too bad.
yeah, yeah. Being on the spectrum, I know that some people have a lot of trouble with anxiety. Is that something you have to deal with? Anxiety?
Yes, well, I imagine that practically anyone can feel anxiety.
Sure.
I do not see why that would be related to any neurological conditions that you may have. But let me see. Of course, I mean, let me
Well,
see.
we'll
I
have a
felt.
friend that's on the spectrum, and actually, he was on the podcast quite a while ago,
mm,
and like he gets like social anxiety. Say like he
Uh,
couldn't go
oh
to
yes,
like
I see. So when I was younger, yes, I would. I used to feel very anxious when in large crowds or in unfamiliar places. I like to stay with what was comfortable and familiar. So I may have mentioned that I was in special education. So let me see. I was in special education, and mm, let me see now. So wait, I was in special education. As I mentioned, back in those days, special education had something of a negative stigma attached to it. So yes, so you see, the special program in which I was did not have its own buildings. They rented space from existing school buildings. So we
ah
typically kept to ourselves usually, but sometimes, I mean, students, of course, we either had the option to bring in our own lunches or go to the cafeteria to get our own lunches. And throughout all 12 grades of school, I scarcely ever got cafeteria lunch because I have how anxious I was going out in crowds among unfamiliar people. So I almost always brought my own lunch. But sometimes we used the gymnasium at the school where I was, and we usually timed it so that we wouldn't be using the gymnasium at the same time as anyone else. But every so often we passed by, like the normal students in the hallway, and I always felt anxious. I always felt as if they were staring at me, staring at us. But of course, that anxiety faded as time went along. It just took time with practice and effort, and of course, help from my teachers and parents and teachers. And yes, I did take a public speaking class in college. That really helped. And
ah.
I do the readings at my church on occasion as well. And that helped also. That really helped me to become more comfortable and confident in front of other people, in front of crowds.
Today's episode of Bunny Hugs and Mental Health is brought to you by Co-op. I've been a member of my local co-op, Sherwood Co-op, for about 25 years, I think. My co-op is one of more than 150 local independent cooperative associations in more than 600 communities across Western Canada. Co-op is a different kind of business. It's not just a gas bar or a grocery store, although co-op is those things too. At its core, co-op is a group of people working together to help their neighbors and build their community. Co-op members are owners, and success is shared with everyone. Your co-op doesn't benefit one person or one corporation. Your co-op was built for everyone. Your co-op was built for your community. Learn more about co-op and find a location near you at coop.crs. One thing I've learned through my experience with mental health and addictions is you never know what you need to hear until you hear it. Make sure to rate and review on Apple and to tell as many people as you can about the podcast so others can hear something they need to hear from one of my guests. After all, this is a free mental health service, which is a rare thing, so why not share with as many people as you can? Well, you are a good speaker, and you on your Instagram posts too. You seem to be a good writer. Like
Thank you very much.
your posts are very
Yes,
well written.
at the church where I attend, when I do readings, very often people compliment you on my readings because I try to put emotion and feeling into the readings. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, and no, you must have seen the videos where I read some of the poetry that I've written. I'm very glad that you like that also.
Yeah. You got all types of talent.
Thank you.
And you must have found some support too with the other kids in special ed.
Yes, of course. I made friends there, so I have some friends there. I certainly made friends when I was in that special education program, and I am, in fact, still in contact with them. There, I have some friends whom I've known for over 20 years. Yes, so I'm very glad for that. Not, I didn't say in contact with everyone. There are some friends, some fellow classmates of mine with whom I've lost contact, sadly. But yes, however, there are some friends with whom I remain in contact to this day. I'm very glad for that.
Nice, nice. And since being on the show, have you had people, maybe not on the street, or on the street even, like people approach you or email you and let you know that they were on the spectrum and just how much they appreciated your
Yes,
openness?
as a matter of fact, yes, a number of people have indeed said that they found the series very inspirational. They're very glad for it. They thanked me very much, and they have said that yes, some people who have certain conditions, or people whose children have the conditions, yes, they've been very grateful for that. Actually, someone reached out to me on Instagram and said that his son started styling his hair to look like mine. Actually. So that's really something.
Yeah, look at that. You're an influencer.
Yes.
Have you met other people that were on the show?
Not yet, but I really would like to. So, not too long after the series premiered, Kaylin was in Boston, and she sent me a message, of course, asking if I wanted to meet, but I didn't see the message in time. So I tried. I mean, I don't log into my Instagram account every day, but I try to check it often. But so yeah, it's unfortunate. So I missed an opportunity, but I am hoping to visit some of the others at some point. I believe 3 of the 6 cast members live in California. So at some point, I would like to go to California to visit them. So
California's
nice.
Beautiful.
Yes. My brother and his wife went there earlier this year for the first time. They said I would definitely like it very much. So yes, I hope to go there at some point.
I think I told you in the email that I talked to Jimmy and Charnay, and they were on the Australian version, and they actually got married on the show.
Yes, I remember seeing that. That was really something. That was really an excellent way to end the second season. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yes, so
they're such nice people, so kind.
Yes, absolutely. They're all wonderful. Absolutely. So, yes. So, yeah, I saw the 2 seasons of the Australian version premiered before the American version ever started. So, yes, of course, I watched both of those. And I remember when I was watching that show, I could absolutely relate to them. I knew how they felt. What I had been through, what they had been through. So I knew how they felt. So when I heard there was going to be an American version, I knew I could not miss the opportunity. I knew I had to audition for it. Yes, so I did. Yes, so I went online, found out where the pages where you auditioned. So I sent an email message with a photograph of myself, just talking about myself briefly. I just said some stuff. Yeah, and they wrote back. Of course, I was thrilled when they wrote back. So I had 2 auditions via Zoom, and then I had an in-person audition. Several people from the show came to my house, so at that point I was feeling really good. I figured, first of all, if I've gotten 3 auditions, that must be a good thing. And if they're actually going through the effort of coming to meet me in my house, that's got to be pretty good. They wouldn't come all the way out to my house if they weren't seriously considering having me on the series. At least that's what I was thinking at the time. So yeah, so when they confirmed that they had indeed selected me to be on the show, I was ecstatic. I was like over the moon for it. So yes, it was really something.
What was it overwhelming at times, having cameramen and all that stuff?
I admit it did feel a little bit intrusive, but it wasn't too bad. But overall, it was absolutely a positive experience. I really enjoyed it. Yes, it was great. So I'm not sure how enthusiastic my parents were to appear on the show, but they still did what they still took it well. But yes, I have to admit, when I watched the show, after I was able to see myself from an outside perspective, I thought I seemed to be nervous, anxious, and on edge the whole time. But everyone else who watched it, though, said I was just fine. So maybe I'm just being harsh on myself. Yeah, people always say that you are your own harshest critic, So
it's so true. It's very true.
Not too bad. But
yeah, good. I was going to ask what you thought if your parents liked being on the show, because
I don't think they had any trouble. Actually, I think a few times people have recognized them actually in public. So yeah, that's something.
Well, actually, your dad was in my dream too. because it was his car that we were driving and we smashed.
You haven't ever actually seen his car. No, I don't think they
No.
ever showed his car on the show. So,
No, it was just a regular car. I don't know.
oh,
And for some reason, you lived in my town where I live. You just like lived down the street from me, and I walked to your house, and I
very
was like, "Hey,
interesting.
James, yeah." I don't know what that means. I'll have to
Oh.
Google what that means. Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe I won't. We'll keep it a
Oh.
mystery. So, if somebody, have you had? I was going to say, if somebody wants to maybe ask you out on a date, would you prefer to do it on Instagram, or are you kind of, or do you prefer to do it in person?
I typically prefer in-person interaction, but I guess, communicating over the internet helps you reach more people.
That's
So,
true.
as I said, that woman whom I mentioned earlier did first reach out to me through Instagram. So, yeah, I mean, that was pretty good. That was not too bad, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Do you find yourself being lonely?
I suppose so. Practically everyone is at some point. But as I said,
Yeah.
I still live with my parents, but I hang out. I have a wonderful circle of friends with whom I hang out on occasion. So that's not too bad. But yes, I am still seeking, a special person, it's a certain person to fill that emotional void in my life. I'm still trying to find, like a soulmate, a person to help with whom I can share everything.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, you can have, you can be very busy. Like you said, you have very little free time, but that doesn't not
Yes.
make it not like you're still lacking something. You're lacking that,
I suppose
that
so.
emotional bond with somebody.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
Are there, like, I don't know what you call it. Is there services for people on the spectrum to, like, dating services?
Yes, well, let me see now. I do have accounts on
Ah,
several different dating services, but you see, most of them are for everyone. But there's a there's a dating service called Hiki, on which I am a member. I do have an account on that platform. I have to admit, I have found it to be a little bit lackluster, unfortunately. I don't think it doesn't have quite as many features as some of the other dating platforms have, and unfortunately, it keeps showing me the same people over and over again, even after I've
swiped
said,
right.
yeah, even after I've indicated I wasn't interested. So that's unfortunate.
Hmm. Um. Shoot. I had a question. I'll load it up and I forget it.
Oh, but let me see now. Actually, recently I learned about there's a new some people. Oh, let me see. I gotta be careful. I don't want to reveal too much now, but I learned there's a new dating app that should be debuting in. Well, wait, I don't. I don't want to be too serious, but well, they have a page on Instagram. It's called Collage Connections, or just Collage for short. But yeah, they have an Instagram page that's publicly viewable, so I can say that much. But yeah, I don't want to say too much else. But that looks very interesting. I definitely think, yeah, I'm going to check that out once their app is available for everyone to use.
Nice. And your preference is women, or do you date?
No,
You know
yes,
what?
women. I have never once been in I've always known that I liked women. I am heterosexual. Yes, so I understand some. Of course, I understand some people may have questions about that, or some people maybe. But yes, no, I have never in my life questioned that I was heterosexual. I've always been absolutely confident about that. So,
Oh, good. Wow,
yes.
that's well. At least you know, and then other people know, so then they know whether to approach you or not.
Yes.
So what do you have big plans for the future, or is it just
Well,
keep
of
at
course,
what you're doing?
I certainly would like to find my own place, my own house, my own place of residence. I mean, I can't live
Right.
with my parents forever, but my parents are getting up there, are getting older in age, and the things. So I've lived with my parents my whole life. So since I was born, I've lived with them, and they haven't had a house themselves. So it's not right to them. But of course, houses are terribly expensive. So yeah, something's going to have to happen. This can't continue forever. I really hope it doesn't turn into a major crisis, or any more major of a crisis than it currently is. But yes, obviously I want to find my own place, but my job is great. I really enjoy my job. I have no reason to leave it, but I do have a bit of a long commute. I mean, I endure the long commute because of how excellent my coworkers are. My coworkers are great. My manager is great. I really, really like the job. Just do have a long commute, so I don't know. I can't endure this commute for the next 30 years of my life. So at some point, I'm going to have to try to find work that is exclusively remote support, work from home. But at some point, but I'm really hoping though at some point soon we see a reduction of the work week, because people, like a century ago, people worked 60 or more hours a week, but labor unions gave us the 40-hour work week. So I'm hoping that the same thing will happen again in the near future. I'm hoping that a combination of labor unions and improvements in technology will give us a shorter work week. Some companies, some places are testing out a 32-hour work week, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. So basically every Friday is a paid day off. That's good. It's not quite, I don't think it's quite ideal, because the thing is though, on the days you work, you're still working from 8 to 5. You still have to get up early in the morning. You're still getting home late in the evening. So you're much of your day is consumed by your work. My ideal work week would be Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You still have plenty of time to get work done. No wasted hours, because, much of when you're at work for 8 or more hours a day, there's no way, well, I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but most people aren't going to get a full 8 hours worth of work done. But by shortening the work day, you're much more efficient. You get the work done more quickly, and you have all that extra free time. At least that's how I see it. I really, really hope that some politicians will directly address the issue, because I'm sorry, I'm getting too loud and vocal. I'm getting too fervent, but I just don't think I could handle being in politics. It's a very vicious, cutthroat field. So I want to try to find other ways to help people. But yes, I really, really am hoping that politicians will directly address this issue. At least that's my hope.
Yes. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And maybe it's because we're neurodivergent. Maybe neurotypical people, it's not so hard to work 40 hours. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I know I have trouble. And so now this is my full-time job now is podcasting.
Do you like it? Are you enjoying it, I hope?
Yeah, I love it. It's just been, so I've been doing it for 2.5 years, but it's just within the last couple months that I've been doing it kind of full-time.
Okay.
And it's, I mean, it's nice. It suits me. It makes my mental health better, because I actually work best a couple 2 or 3 hours in the morning, and then again in the evening. So I can work whatever hours I feel like I'm most productive, and I get lots done. Yeah. Huh. So you'd prefer a shorter day? Because I think. Are you finding right now it's almost like you wake up, you drive to work, you go to work, you have to drive home, go to bed, wake up, drive to work.
Yes. So yes, it feels like I have no time. So it feels like when I come to work, it feels like I was just at work. When I don't feel like I have enough time. I have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning because of my long commute, and I typically return home around 6:30 in the evening or so. So yes, so that's like half my day or more is consumed by. It's not just the 8 hours spent at the job, but my commute takes a lot of time. So yes, so much of my day is consumed by my job and stuff. It's ridiculous.
How long is your commute?
Well, if the traffic is minimal, it's only can be like a half hour to 40 minutes. But if there's heavy traffic, it can be an hour or more, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I really like it. As I said, I endure that commute because I really like my job, but it wasn't always that bad. So a few years ago, I was working in a place much closer to where I live. Where I was working before, I had barely a half hour drive each way. That was so nice. But they transferred me to a different location because they had enough people, enough technicians at the original location, but not enough technicians in the new location. So yeah, so I stuck with it because I really liked the job. I didn't want to look elsewhere for a job. So yes, as I said, I really like the people where I am now. So.
Oh, well, that's good. That's a huge part of the job. It's just enjoying the people that are around you. So James, I have a segment on my show. It's called That Some Bunny Special. It's a segment where we chat about who cooperated in your mental health journey and helped fill your emotional tank, and it's brought to you by Co-op. So is there somebody special in your life that's always been there and you feel like has always been a big support?
Yes, well, of course, my parents have absolutely been there, but I don't know, is that too cliche to mention my parents?
No. Can you mention anybody you want?
Yes, absolutely. My parents have been there my whole life. So yes, absolutely, they are the ones who have helped me and supported me all this time and pushed me and inspired me to give it my best. But well, there was
Awesome.
also I guess I could mention my school teachers. I don't really remember a lot of them, but the psychologist whom I mentioned was absolutely a major influence. So yes, I have to mention that psychologist as well. So
Do you remember his name? I think you said it earlier.
no, I don't know. I'm not sure I should reveal his name. I don't think that'd be right.
Okay, yeah, that's no problem. They say like lots of people on the spectrum have that like a special interest. Would you say, you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Do you have a special interest?
Yes. Well, I've always enjoyed computers, and electronics, and technology. So yes, there's that. I do like that, but I've always been very fond of. Always been very fond of medieval fantasy as well.
Right.
Yes. Or fantasy sci-fi. I've always been fond of Star Wars, Star Trek, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, The Lord of the Rings, stuff like that. Yes.
Right. What's your favorite Star Wars show? Series.
Ooh, let me see. Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and Star Wars Rebels were both amazingly good series. So yes, they really helped. Like Star Wars, the Clone Wars was set between episodes 2 and 3. Star Wars Rebels was set between episodes 3 and 4. They were amazingly well written. I really wish that the people who worked on those shows could have been present, could have worked on both the prequel and sequel trilogy. And really bothers me. The TV series had so much better writing than the movies. At least that's my opinion. I need to emphasize quite heavily that is strictly my opinion. But yes, that's just how I feel. And that's not the only time that happened. I personally, I don't want to say that any of the Marvel movies were poorly written, because most of them have been good, but not all of them. Because frankly, I feel like I watched like Spider-Man the Animated Series, X-Men the Animated Series back in the 90s. Then a little bit later, we had Spider-Man Unlimited and X-Men Evolution in the 2000s, and those shows were so well written. I personally think they are better than the majority of Marvel movies. And same thing with DC. Again, I don't want to say that. Let me see. Like the first 2 Christopher Nolan movies were really good, and the DC cinematic universe hasn't been all bad, but it has been a bit hit or miss. Some of them really good. Like the first Wonder Woman movie was excellent, and I think the Aquaman wasn't too bad either. But I personally feel that all the DC television series from the 90s, early 2000s were far better written than the movies. I'm not sure why that is. Perhaps when higher budgets are involved, maybe the corporate executives are more heavily involved and they want certain things done certain ways. Perhaps the television series aren't treated as a high of a priority, so the writers have more freedom to do what they want.
Yeah. I like the ones that James Gunn has done.
Which are those?
So he's done the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He did the ones.
Yes,
those
were quite good, I must say.
Yeah, and the Suicide Squad, the second one.
Yes.
Those
weren't too bad, I must say.
So is there anything you wanted to add that I didn't ask about?
That's a very good question.
Well, about anything really.
Well, I don't know. Let's see. Do people celebrate Halloween very much in Canada?
Yeah, lots.
Oh, good. How was Halloween? I know it's already been several weeks, but did you have a good Halloween, I hope?
Yeah, it was good. My kids are older, so we don't celebrate as much, but it was nice. Yeah, it was around my hometown here, everybody puts out decorations and the kids were all out and stuff. But it was a cold day. It was a cold, snowy day here that day. So it's sometimes it's beautiful weather. Sometimes it's a blizzard on Halloween around here.
Well, it is Canada, mind you. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much, James. You're such just a treat to talk with. You're just such a polite, nice young fella. I can only imagine you'll find love soon, because it's hard not to love you. I'm not going to lie. Hey, if you like this episode, if you're new, there's all types of great episodes like this in the library, so you can go back and listen to episodes. There's over 120 of them now. And make sure you subscribe. I don't know what you do to podcasts, but make sure you keep listening because there's going to be more awesome episodes. Please be sure to rate and review if you're watching or listening. It means so much to podcasters and creators to get those ratings and reviews. That's really how the algorithm figures out what to do with you, so more people can hear you and listen to you, see you. And that's really what we want here. This is a mental health podcast. We want more people looking for podcasts like this to find it. Anyway, thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. Until then, please remember to make your beds and take your meds. Bye.